Hi, David Rodgers here with the Ethernet Alliance. We're attending the 224 Plugfest, 224 gigabit Plugfest here at Keysight in Santa Clara. I'm standing with my HSN chair, high-speed networking chair, Sam Johnson. Sam, what the hell are we doing here today?
Well, as the name would imply, an Interop Plugfest, we have a number of vendors from across the industry. In fact, more than 20 companies came to join us to do a mix of interoperability testing, where we basically make sure that everyone is playing nicely together, things can connect and work and bring up link, pass traffic the way our customers would expect us to. But also we have a number of compliance stations, I think 9 different compliance stations. We're able to test the conformance of cables, modules, and the Ethernet devices themselves across a variety of specifications, mostly looking at the latest IEEE 802.3 DJ specs, which are not yet ratified. So some of the data that we're collecting here is critical measurements to help feed back into the DJ spec to make some decisions that need to be made right now about the spec. So we get a great mix of the interoperability testing for companies looking at their latest 224 gig products, as well as some lower speed. Right, we get the multi-mode testing and coverage, but also the compliance that so critically feeds into that IEEE spec development process.
So this is our second go at 224. The first one was more exploratory. It was sort of a, can this thing really work? And now we've actually got live products that are pumping data.
Yeah, the first one was purely compliance measurements, right? So this is the first time an industry event testing actual interoperability. So 224 gig from multiple vendors across various interconnects and showing that overall connectivity and the growing health of the ecosystem as these devices figure out what bugs there are and what needs to happen to play together. So at the end of the day, we can help kind of drive that Ethernet promise of plug and play and keep the market moving forward.
Yeah, the interoperability requirements for the interdata center connections are phenomenal. We're not just buying from any one or two sources in the market space. So having proven interoperability between the different ecosystem vendors is exceptionally important. And this is one of the things that we've done at the Ethernet Alliance for many, many years now. Sam, you've been the HSN chair for coming on 2 or 3 years now.
Oh, at least that. I think maybe 4. I think it's our 5th Plugfest that I've helped run. So we've had a couple now, and that's in some smaller events, again, focused compliance type measurements events in the middle there. But yeah, I've been doing this a little bit, and prior to that, I was a participant in the events. So somewhere the line got blurry between having to run the thing and be the one in there plugging and unplugging cables. But yeah, I've actually been taking part in these events for 10 years now. And I think this is just about the largest one we've ever had. So I really feel that, especially with the advent of us being able to support, well, not us, but the vendors having 224 gig capable devices allows an event like this to happen. Absolutely. And help really bring us to the forefront and help maintain some of the viability of the Ethernet Alliance. We don't publish a spec, so a lot of the value that we can bring to the ecosystem is by having events like this, bringing people together in an NDA protected and sort of a safe environment. We have equipment here that has not been announced to the public. And this is the absolute best opportunity for those vendors to get some good interop mileage with their devices before they get released, as well as other participants. That first chance, you're never going to get an earlier chance to connect with someone's newest, latest, greatest devices than you are at an event like this.
Absolutely. You know, the inflection points for these interop events come more frequently now than they used to back in the day. But true. Specifically with the 224, with some of the radical changes in the transport interconnect, how links come alive. It's been very challenging to look at where we have the concatenated FEC and the Hamming code and the interlink training and all these new acronyms and new things that we have that the spec has brought about that we have to figure out as an ecosystem. I think no more telling is the amount of test vendors that are also participating in these events. So the interconnect people, the systems guys, and the test people that are making certain that we're all kind of working together. It's exceptionally important at this particular inflection point, especially considering we just got finished talking last week about what's going to happen for the next speed bump at 400 gig. So if we don't work it out at 200 gig, there is no such thing as 3.2 terabit because we won't have the ability to get there. So I'm super pleased to have Sam be our chair and to lead this effort. His experience in the interoperability and validation testing is invaluable for what we do here, and the framework that you've brought about with your people in the data capture, working with the UNH to develop these independent reports that show the health that we have. And last but not least, the fact that the IEEE has pushed to the EA and said, we really need you to drive more of these events for us so we can get the feedback that you spoke about with respect to, we put this in the spec, does it work, does it not work? Is this a thing that we need to do or something that we need to modify? And that's the benefit of these events. Sam, what else can you say about this?
To further that, it's a singular event that allows us to actually get a correlation between interoperability and the compliance measurements.
Exactly.
Which is not something that you can easily see otherwise, right? Some of these devices are so powerful that they may be failing the spec, but can still interoperate, or vice versa. And more interesting to the IEEE, if we can find some that are failing to interoperate but pass the specs, that's a huge piece of information. Because one of the critical things that the IEEE tries to provide is that guarantee of functionality, right? So this is the proving ground for that. Did we successfully define the specifications in a way that guarantees interoperability? So any failure at one of these events is super interesting information, whether it's a compliance failure or an interop connection that failed to establish. And we like to say, when we're planning for the plug or for the trade shows, we go and we build something and we show what can work.
Yep.
Here, we want to find what doesn't work, because that's where the interesting information comes from, is when we break things. And I'll say, there's always something interesting to be learned from these events. And the more we can help kind of keep furthering the health of the ecosystem, I think we build more value in it. We get even more people here next time.